Hey everyone, what's going on? Today in the mainstream media, one of the major stories was how they found the suspect in the killing of the 7-year-old girl named Jazmine Barnes. And they found it from a tip from the activist named Sean King. And, before I even go any farther within this story, what I talk about on this channel is how our mainstream media, our sports leagues, our told history, it is all by this numerical script. The people who control our media, they understand this code that exists all around us, and they manipulate this code for some type of reason, to instill fear in the rest of the world, and, somehow they're using it to rule over the masses. And just think about this story. Like, think about how many people get murdered every single day. Think about how many kids go missing, how many kids get kidnapped. Why was this story more important than, thousands of other stories that happen every single day? Why was the Natalie Holloway story so much more special? She went missing, but yet, there was tons of other kids going missing, but she was in the mainstream media. So let's look at this story here. And just look how they manipulate what it is. And they want you to know a lot about this number 7 that is going on. So she supposedly dies on December 30th. And now they're finding this suspect 7 days later. So she was a 7-year-old. Now we're finding out they found the suspect 7 days later. Originally he was a 40-year-old white guy. Now he's like a 20-year-old black guy. But a 7-year-old, they find the killer 7 days later. They tell us on almost every media article that it was from Houston, even though it was in Cloverleaf, which is in the Houston area. But Houston and gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words and phrases, and I'll leave some links in the description. Houston just so happens to equal 77. And they tell us that she was shot at 7 a.m. in the morning. So a 7-year-old shot at 7 a.m. in Houston that equals 77. Now they find the suspect 7 days later, and they say it's from a tip from this guy, Sean King. Notice his birthday, September 17th. And I'm surprised too, look, you can actually find an obituary for this girl, which is odd because a lot of times you can't within the mainstream media. You can't find these people on Facebook. You can't find anything about them other than these stories. So it makes me think this is a real story, but they just knew how to manipulate this story. Sorry, my battery died. They knew how to manipulate this story, or they just chose it because, the numbers fit to what they wanted to do. And obviously, they manipulated it by saying, 7 a.m., even though, it might not have been. It says before 7 a.m. So why even put that in there? But anyway, look at this. If you go from her birthday, which was 2/11, to this guy who gave the tip to find her, their birthdays were 7 months and 7 days apart. 7, 7, Houston equals 77. Also, so it wasn't in Houston, it was actually in the town called Cloverleaf, and I thought, that sounds a lot like St. Patrick's Day, right? That reminds you of St. Patrick's Day. Cloverleaf. So I just went from her death to St. Patrick's Day, and it just so happens to be that she died 77 days before St. Patrick's Day in a town called Cloverleaf. So lots and lots of 7 in this story. If you go from the day that she died to her birthday, she died 44 days before, which is interesting because this number is always in shootings in the mainstream media. And the word shooting equals 44 in gematria. Her birthday also is interesting considering she's an African American girl. And her birthday's 2/11, which is the 42nd day of the year. And she died on a date numerology of 60. And if you go to the gematria calculator here, and you type out the super N word, notice that it equals 60. and it also equals 42 in gematria. And both of these numbers are absolutely important. Think about how the 42nd day is even in, February, which is Black History Month, and February, the only month that equals 42. Think about Jackie Robinson, who wore the number 42, and Rosa Parks, who was 42 when she wouldn't get off the bus, and Rodney King, whose birthday is 4/2. I'll leave a link to maybe like my Emmett Till video where I just list just, you know, hundreds of examples of how this code has been negatively stamped on black people throughout history. Also, the word Barnes equals 59, which is this girl's last name. And, you know, the way that you get to the super N word right here, it's 5. Well, I clicked on it wrong here. It's 5 plus 9 plus 7 plus 7 plus 5 plus 9. So it even has the 59 in front of it. And, tons and tons of things. The Civil War even supposedly came to an end on May 9th, 5/9, and it began 59 days after Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Negro equals 59, slave equals 59, cotton picker equals 59, Michael Jordan equals 59. You know, even Rodney King, just, I don't know, just off the top of my head. AIDS, HIV or whatever, AIDS, it supposedly goes back to the Belgian Congo since the year 59. The word blues equals 59. Rasta equals 59. Motown Records began in the year 59. It's a super, these numbers are super important. So that's another reason why I think that they told us the story was in Houston. Because if you write out Houston, Texas, it equals 181, which is the 42nd prime number. And they also told us that she was shot in the Walmart parking lot. And if you write out Walmart parking lot, I'll just write it out for you. Walmart parking lot. It equals 211, just like her birthday, right? Just like the 42nd day of the year. And this number is really important to Freemasonry, who are the people who understand this code and use it to rule over us. 211 is the 47th prime number. And if you look up the Freemasonic square and compass, it's set at 47 degrees on the top. The top of it is called the pole star that equals 47. And, think about it in our government. Think about George Washington being a 33rd degree Freemason. And the United States' independence is on 7-4 or 4-7. Republican equals 47. Democrat equals 47. White House equals 47. President equals 47. Government equals 47. Hopefully I get my point across. The Freemason headquarters are in Washington, D.C. They have the 33 pillars. They're 33 feet tall on the outside of it. The highest degree is supposedly 33. Also, if you just write out Walmart, Walmart equals 47, but, 47th prime is 211. The guy who they said supposedly murdered her was Eric Black Jr. So let me find it up here. Eric Black Jr. If you just write out Eric Black, it equals 47. And a big thing on this story was about the number 7 that equals 47. If you write out Eric Black Jr., it equals 56. And if you write out Jazmine Barnes, it equals 56. And this guy who supposedly tipped him off, he's all about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter equal 56 in gematria. And, just think about this guy's name, Eric Black Jr. Originally it was a white guy. Now it's a black guy, and his last name even happens to be Black. So I guess, just another example of how our mainstream media is coded by this system of gematria. Check out some links in the description. Learn to apply this. The more people that understand this knowledge, the more we can learn about this knowledge and hopefully use it to our advantage and, stop all of this fear and figure out how to apply it and, take this world back.